Yep.
All right, we're live.
All right.
Give you a minute to do your sharing and stuff.
To do my thing.
That's right. Even though we're all just sitting around waiting on you right now.
Is that what it is? Or is it just waiting around?
That's exactly what it is. Look at that, see?
I heard you say it. I heard you say it twice. I heard you say it in mine too.
All right. Well, whenever you're ready.
All right. I'm ready.
All right. Intros forthcoming.
All right.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom. Mine was like a baby boom.
Was
It
it?
wasn't the explosion. I almost forgot to push the button, by the way.
Next time I do the show from the home studio, we should both have our shotguns out when that happens. Then.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Dope and Dharma. This is, of course, the Dharma Time Edition, Dharma Time Hour, Dharma Time, whatever you want to call it. Normally, we're here on Tuesdays from 1 to 2, but we're going to go a little bit early today because, of course, Mr. Popular's got stuff to do, and he just doesn't have time for the rest of us.
Trying to keep people employed, man. I'm interviewing people. Man.
There you go.
Everybody needs employees these days, Trinity.
Right.
And you know, a sad thing, real quick on that, actually, you know, if you're one of those people out there that you set up a time for an interview and then you don't show up because the only thing you're trying to do is keep your unemployment, I don't feel very Dharma-ish towards you. Because it's a lot of waste of time, man. I swear, my staff here, they set up all kinds of times and wait around to interview people that some never show up.
They just don't show up. That's crazy.
Don't even show up, man.
Wow.
Don't even show up.
That's
and don't respond to text or calls or anything like that. So hopefully that doesn't happen today. Last week when I was here, I saw it happened, and I know they have like 5 or 6 lined up today. So hopefully these people have showed up.
Not cool, man. Not cool. Yeah. Well, that kind of plays into what we're talking about today. Okay. But before I get to that, let me first say, welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. He's, of course, the Dope Doctor. I am the Dharma Guy. Hopefully you know that by now. Unless you're brand new and just tuning in. And in that case, welcome. If you weren't aware, you can watch us live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Look up Dope and Dharma and you will find us there. Or if you want to listen to this at a later date at your leisure, you can do it on any of the podcast platforms. And by all means, share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It does help. Anyways, all right, let's get started.
All right.
All right. So yet again, I didn't know what kind of topic to talk about today. I wasn't really sure what our loyal listeners were interested in hearing.
Right.
And then it kind of hit me. There's been some things happening in my life, some of which I will talk about publicly, some of which I won't. Only because, I'm not trying to, it's not necessarily my business to share, so I won't put it out there and put anybody on the spot, but I will share the stuff that I personally was interacting with that led to this epiphany, if you will. So for those of you who are reading the show or you saw it, it's called Be Kind, right? And I look back and we've done a couple shows on kindness, so I guess it just bears repeating. Apparently it's a very important topic to me.
Why is it on the bottom right there?
I don't know. What do you mean on the bottom?
You usually have, like Dharma Time, Be Kind.
You mean like that?
Yeah.
Bam. Look at ask and you shall receive.
See?
So
that was very kind of you, by the way.
Thank you. I try. But no, so what made me think of it like today, I guess, is the last several days I've been having some pretty in-depth conversations with my kids, my 2 little ones. So for those of you who aren't aware, I have an 11-year-old and a soon-to-be 13-year-old. She's 12 now. She'll be 13 in October. And the 2 of them obviously have, their brother and sister. They've been in each other's lives pretty much since day one. And they love each other. They do. I can tell. But my God, are they so mean to each other sometimes. I mean, I've heard of sibling rivalry. I never personally had it, I guess maybe because my siblings weren't around like that for me to have those kinds of interactions with. I've heard about it. My wife tells me all the time, and her brother used to come to like blows, like some pretty harsh stuff. But then I also have other friends who had siblings who were just like really awesome with one another. So I don't really have much to base it on. I just know that it kind of breaks my heart sometimes to hear them really be mean to each other. Like for no reason. I'm like, dude, that's your brother, man. Like, why? There's enough people out there in the world that are going to make your day crappy if you let them. Why do it inside your own home, right? And it's over stupid stuff. Like they literally will fight over anything. My favorite one was, I don't know, probably a couple weeks ago. So we have our plates and stuff, our bowls kind of at a higher cabinet. That it's harder for them to reach. Because they're little. And so there was a step stool. And so my son was at the cabinet reaching, trying to get to a plate, and he couldn't. So my daughter was like, oh, well, I'll just go get the step stool. So she went and got the step stool and brought it over there. And then the fight ensues because my son is thinking to himself, well, I'm already here and I was trying to do it. I should be the one that stands on the step stool to get it.
Right.
My daughter was like, well, I'm the one that went to go get the step stool. So I'm the one who should be able to stand on it and get it. And then they fought about this for about 20 minutes. I'm like, first of all, do you realize you both are fighting over getting the plate? Like, in theory, the fight should be over. I don't want to get it. I'm going to make you get it for me. But instead, they were fighting over who gets to do it. Like, who, I guess, the power role is what I was assuming. And they do that a lot. They fight over like some of the silliest things. The last one that made me think about it was yesterday. So what prompted this discussion was yesterday morning. We have split custody, myself and my ex. So they were getting ready to go back to their mom's house. And I knew they were on their way. So I told them, hey guys, go ahead and get ready, get whatever stuff you need to bring. They're on their way. And so my daughter, I told her to get, she was in pajamas and stuff. So I told her to get into regular clothes like an hour prior. She ignored me. She didn't get on. So I put my head in the door and I saw, it's like, hey, come on, what are you doing? I told you, let's go. Let's get dressed. So I go out in the living room. I'm sitting there and I hear her screaming at him, like, get out, just going off. And so I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Well, my son decided to get up and come into the room to grab his computer because he has a little laptop he takes back and forth. And it was that exact moment that my daughter decided that she wanted to change her clothes. She hasn't started the process of changing yet. She started the process of saying, I'm going to get up and go change. And so when he came in, she yelled at him, told him, get out, I'm going to change and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I just need to get my computer. It's my stuff. Right. And so then they started fighting and going off. And apparently like one of them pushed the other one and the other one kicked the other one. It just got completely out of hand. So I pulled him out the living room. I set him down. I'm like, guys, what's going on here? And it's like what she couldn't understand was that, he had no clue that she was getting ready to change. Like that was in her mindset. He had no idea.
Right.
It was his computer. I told him to go get his stuff. So he was just following directions, coming in and get it. And the two of them have established that nobody ever knocks on each other's door. They both just barge in the other one's door. Okay. And sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't. They play on PlayStation together. And for some reason, they don't want to use the mic. Like sometimes they use it. Even if they're on the mic, one will still have to come into the room. So they've established that they'll go in each other's rooms without knocking. And so my daughter was upset that he came in and she was going to change and he didn't knock and everything else. And so I tried to explain to her, I was like, baby, first of all, there's no way he would have known you were getting ready to get dressed. And let's not act like it was a huge priority for you because I told you to do it like an hour ago. So like you literally just were getting mad at him. It could have been anybody else to walk through that door and it would have been fine. But because it was him, you're going to go off and yell at him and scream at him. And then what you don't understand is when he gets yelled at, he gets defensive. He gets his feelings hurt. So now he's going to yell back because he doesn't understand why he's being yelled at. And then for my son, I was like, dude, you could have knocked before you entered. She's a soon-to-be 13-year-old girl. She needs some privacy. I know you guys haven't established that, but still, you could have knocked. And then when she said get out, instead of arguing with her, you could have just been like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Like, my bad. Let me know when you're done. And, so I was trying to explain to them how either one of them at any point could have tried to acknowledge and recognize the predicament that they put the other person in and understand their reaction. And they didn't. Every time I ask either one of them about what's going on here or how it could be fixed or where it went wrong, they only want to focus on what the other person did. Right. And so I was thinking, you know what? That's not all that unrealistic for like normal people, right? Because how many times have you and I in groups and things of that nature, or just in friends, family, it doesn't matter. People who've come to us for our wisdom or our insight, oftentimes are talking about things that are bothering them, and they only want to focus on what the other person was doing.
Right.
Like they never want to focus on the fact of, hey, maybe my behavior or maybe my perspective infringed upon them in some sort of way. And so I figure, you know what, let's talk about that today. Because I see that happening a ton right now. Obviously, with all the political things, with all the different divisive subjects that we have happening right now. And I think we just got another doozy last night, and I'm positive on Friday, if you guys watch our political show, We the Middle, I'm sure we'll be talking about where they just raided his house and stuff.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a topic on Friday.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a ton of stuff going on, and then that's not to mention just the normal everyday things, right? Like, I have started carrying my concealed permit or my concealed weapon a lot more lately, because I don't know about you. You're in New Smyrna Beach, so I assume it's much more laid back out there. I don't know though, but I've gone out several times to go grab food or whatever, and in the parking lot. Matter of fact, the last 2 times are both in a Publix parking lot. I don't know if that means anything, but people are like flipping out, like almost shooting each other and almost fighting in like parking lots, like a lot lately. And it's usually the same thing. It's just nobody wants to be kind anymore, and I don't understand that. Like, why is it so difficult to be kind? So, what are your thoughts on that? On anything I've said so far?
It's cruel to be kind.
Yeah,
isn't that the old saying? I don't know. Luckily, I am in an area where there's more good guys with guns than bad guys with guns.
Right.
In my particular area, your area may be different. I mean, you're in a bigger metropolitan area. You're in Orlando. That's a bigger animal. As far as kindness is concerned, when you brought it up, what I was thinking was that we are all struggling with this, and not only with strangers, but even with family members, like you mentioned with your kids.
Yeah.
I simply asked my wife for my passport this morning. And she was very brutal. She was very angry and frustrated.
Shame on you, Dana.
She wasn't kind at all. She accused me of not planning ahead. That for some reason she should have been given some sort of ample notice. That I should know where to find it. I mean,
just silly, crazy stuff that.
Just ridiculous. Yeah. Amounts of energy, of negativity, all because I simply said, "Hey, babe, I'm gonna go get my TSA thing. I need my passport." It was just uncalled for, and it's because kindness is not priority, not for Dana, not for your children, not for a lot of people. And I think people just need to understand how your negative energy affects the rest of us. We don't want it. I don't want it. I want to leave my day whistling Dixie. You know what I mean? I want to get in my car and just enjoy my ride and do what I did, which is I saved lives while driving to Daytona today, Dana, because that's what I do. And I need to be in the right side of mind to take those phone calls and to help people get navigated into a treatment situation so that they can change their life around, because they're dealing with real problems, not fake problems like, oh, I'm sorry that I bugged you this morning because I wanted my passport.
And for those of you who don't know, that's 833 matters, by the way. If you're dealing with drug and alcohol related issues and need some help, you reach out to us at 833 matters. But go ahead.
That's right. So as you can see, Trinity, even nice people like me, people that are overwhelmingly kind and there and present and emotionally available, even we get attacked by people's rudeness and negative energy. So if someone like me is feeling it, then I can only imagine what you and others may be experiencing in your surroundings.
Sure.
Because it's just I think that it's
I'm so sorry you had to go through that, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Well, your kindness today is already helping. And then I come in here into the office, and then the staff's here kindness, and they're I think they're getting me some coffee and figuring that out, and not using the dirty cups that I saw, but they're going to get me a whole new brand new cup, and I think it's phenomenal. There he is right now. See, kindness. Thank you. You went
I'm
and
doing
bought.
that.
You got a whole new coffee machine just because I thought the other one was dirty. See, that's kindness, Trinity.
Absolutely, man.
Am I being too high
And
maintenance? I
and
mean,
with
just because I want my passport.
and with your wife, I mean, there is absolutely no other perspective there other than yours, for sure. Like, I think
No,
that's
I no other perspective.
no, absolutely not.
No. I mean,
And I
it
am so
was
sorry you had to go. That's
yeah.
appalling that you had to.
Well, I made coffee at home, so when she gets up, she'll have coffee there for her. So I thought,
You're like a
what is
saint.
it? It's about 12:49. All right. Well, she's got about an hour more of sleep, and then when she gets up, she'll be able to get the coffee that I left for her. You know.
Yeah,
See, this is where we could talk about these things, Trinity,
exactly.
and
Let
so.
it out, man.
But I think that's part of the kindness, right? What allows people like you and I to be as nice as we are is because we have each other.
That's
We
right.
have each other, and we don't sit there. You're not going to badmouth Dana. I'm not going to badmouth your kids or Angel, but we can share our experiences so that we don't
Yes.
carry it forward, so we don't hold on to these resentments. And unlike other people that we may know, we're not going to bring up things from 20 or 30 years ago and somehow make that a current issue.
Exactly.
I mean, this is part of being kind is look, deal with
Yeah.
it while it happens, people.
Yeah.
If you take issue with something that's occurring in your life, deal with it in the moment. Don't wait 20 or
Right.
30 years to say it at 9:30 in the morning when you get asked a simple question. I have no idea how it's relevant.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we accidentally just stumbled upon an actually really good point that I think
What is it?
is part of it, right?
Okay.
I think part of the problem with the kindness aspect is for either we're not aware
No.
or we're under the impression that we shouldn't, and that is be honest about like our feelings, right?
Yeah.
How many bits of kindness or how many bits of like, okay, I'll give you an example. You're driving down the road, somebody cuts you off. If they cut you off and they just keep driving, or they honk at you or flip you off when they cut you off, your
Right.
reaction might be a little bit different than if they cut you off and they immediately swear back, looking like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you."
Yeah, that's me.
There's two completely different reactions that you can
Right.
expect from somebody.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of like what I'm seeing here and what I've noticed in my own life, even.
Right.
Early in the scenario I gave where my son came in or whatever, if he would have just walked in like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, my bad," and
Yeah.
and left, I think she would have responded differently.
Maybe.
Or had she said to him, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" Blah blah blah. Like my point is, if either one of them through their little tiffs that they get into,
Yeah.
were to be honest with the other one, say, "Hey, it really hurts my feelings when this happens," blah blah blah. That they show that little bit of vulnerability. I seriously think it would go differently.
Maybe.
Because I don't think a lot of us ever really want and necessarily to hurt another person's feelings. Are there outliers? Of course. There's people out there who just they weren't hugged enough as a kid.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the average everyday person. A lot of us don't really want to hurt or want to infringe somebody. We just get caught up on our own stuff. And part of being caught up on our own stuff is we got to kind of admit what we're feeling sometimes, right? Like, why is that so difficult for us to say, "Hey, it kind of hurt my feelings when you did that"?
Yeah, and I agree. And listen, in the reason I said maybe is because I want us to be also clear of expectations that just because you
Sure.
admit something or acknowledge something in the moment, sometimes the other person there's nothing that can be said. Sometimes there's no
course.
comment. Like they're already frustrated. They get frustrated because of your behavior, and it's regardless of how you interpret it. Their thought process is, well, it shouldn't have been done in the first place. So nothing you say
Sure.
can help, or it's a repetitive behavior. Therefore, it doesn't matter what you're apologizing now because it's repetitive.
Of
Or I've
course.
told you before, therefore you should have known this time. Whatever it may be. When you're driving down the road, I've been that person that accidentally did something, and I'm sorry. Usually it's taken well, or they're maybe you could tell they're upset, but when they pull up alongside you and you look at them, they kind of just calm down,
Sure.
for whatever reason. But there's been that very rare occasion where no matter what, they're still talking smack and doing
Sure.
something.
Yeah. Of course.
And you're like, listen, I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway because I was wrong. So just go, but let's
let's not turn this into a thing.
I'm giving you leeway. Let's accept the leeway. So just be prepared that not everybody's going to accept your response either. And if you're in the wrong, stay in the wrong. stay in the wrong.
Exactly.
Don't and then understand that, okay, this doesn't make me right all of a sudden, and that now they're wrong. Just try to get out of the situation as fast as you can. And as we all want to get home safe. So if it's on the road, for sure, we all just want to get home safe. And none of the rest of us want to deal with your little arguments on the road. But more importantly than that, this doesn't just happen on the road. This is happening in lines. We saw it at Disney not too long ago.
Yes.
Where some girl got separated from her family. She's just trying to get back to her family. We've all been in that situation. We've all been in lines where we're sweating and we're hot, and it's an hour wait in a line at a theme park, and then somebody's pushing their way through. Not all of them are super kind when they're pushing their way through. Some people push their way through entitled, and some people say, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. It does make a difference how you push your way through a line.
Absolutely.
However, go. I'm already waiting an hour. One person ain't going to change it. You know what I mean? It's not going to do it. And then what we saw was, in the land of happiness, it turned into a big
brawl.
Dude, Google that one. If you didn't see that, Google that fight. I mean, there's some Bettys that were still throwing punches when it was all calm and just doing sneaking punches.
Yeah.
And that's just ridiculous, man. It's just some of you are just like, you're outwardly crazy right now. And I'm not saying crazy in the medical sense, because I'm not the dope doctor on this show. I'm not, I'm a different kind of dope doctor on this show. This is Dharma Time. So I can use the word crazy different. You'll never hear me use that word on the Couch Live, because it's way too clinical. I have to use clinical terms. But on this show, you guys need to relax. There's so many of you that are just so frustrated. Like the conversation you kind of brought up that we're going to talk about on Friday. Some people were being, very angry about that occurred, that such an act could have occurred on a past, I don't even want to say to remind it,
authority
but
figure.
yeah. And then some people were like, yeah, already convicting. None of you know these people involved. None of you.
Yeah, exactly.
None of you. And we all have a dog in the fight. So none of you have more of a dog in the fight than any of the rest of us. Yet so darn opinionated and frustrated and angry about the situation, or overly exuberant and happy about the situation, therefore angering other people. It's whatever.
Exactly.
I thought the bigger news of the day really just should have stopped at Olivia Newton-John. They just really should have stopped at Olivia Newton-John. We should have all been gathered in our mourning together over losing such an iconic figure in our childhood, but instead, it was trumped by another news story.
Yeah, I think I think for the kindness, it kind of goes both ways, right? Like being kind to others and being kind to yourself, right? Being kind to others in a sense of realizing and acknowledging that person that you're talking to is, they've got their own perceptions as to what's happening. They got their own story that they need to tell.
Right.
And allowing them to kind of live their truth, if you will, live their life.
Yeah.
But then there's also being kind to yourself, where you're like, allowing yourself to verbalize your maybe your hurt feelings or whatever it may be, but also not creating a situation that the future you is going to have to now deal with. Right? Like, be kind enough to yourself to like avoid that. I think, to be honest with you, I think one of the biggest things that taught me that was being married and having kids. Like, being
married and having kids taught
me to be more kind. Like, I wasn't the kindest individual back in the day.
Agreed. 100%. I'm in Team Trinity on this one.
Yeah, I wasn't kind back in the day, like many years ago, before I had my kids and stuff. I was just, young and kind of into myself and, egotistical, like everybody usually at that age, especially the male ego. But as I got older, as I had kids and I got married, for my kids, there's these two little things now that I have to like protect and I have to raise and I have to try to give them the best plight forward.
Right.
And I'm very cognizant, because I had a crappy father. I'm very cognizant and aware of like, I can impact how they feel, whether I intend to or not. And I don't want them to feel some kind of way. Like, my daughter the other day was saying something about this whole situation, because it hurts her feelings. The two of them fight. And I was trying to get her to understand that, she's participating in this as well. It's not just, she's not the only victim in this situation. He is as well.
Right.
But in the middle of that, I caught myself saying, but I don't want her to think I'm not hearing her.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said to her, I said, look, let's table this for right now. Tomorrow, let's talk. And I want you to, I want to make sure that you know that I support you. I'm here for you. And I'm hearing you. But at the same token, I'm also his father. So I got to make sure he's being heard as well. So let's figure this out tomorrow. So I put her to bed. We woke up and we had, the conversation. But so my kids absolutely, pulled that out of me for wanting to be there for them. But then my wife also, anybody out there who's married, and I'm going to speak to the men now because I've never been married to a man. I've been married to a woman. If you want a happy marriage, you're gonna have to be aware of her feelings, man. Like you're gonna have, you can't just be like, "Oh, get over it." It just doesn't work in a marriage. It's just not going to, not well, anyways.
Wait, let me write this. Let me write this down.
Exactly.
What is it what is it that I'm not supposed to do that I'm doing?
Exactly. And so for me,
so telling her to shake it off.
Yeah,
right.
Tell her to calm down is never going to work out well for you.
Yeah. No, you know what doesn't work well? Shut the F up doesn't work well.
No.
I saw that on TV. Really. I saw that on TV one time, and I saw the way my wife and everybody reacted to what the guy said. It was one of those 90-Day Fiancé shows, and I learned, okay, note to self: don't ever say that sentence, because apparently that's a bad way. Because it's not that I've never thought it. I thought it.
Oh, we've all thought it.
I thought it, but I had to put it in the. Don't say that with your loud voice.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, being married absolutely taught me to be more kind. It taught me, am I there yet? No. I mean, I'm not the most gentle person. Like I'm trying as I get older. I've been a rough dude my whole life, man. And so learning to not be as rough and be more gentle and more kind is definitely something that I'm striving and I'm getting better at. Right. But it was my kids and my wife that were the catalyst to that, because I saw directly how my behavior was impacting them. Right. And it wasn't just all about me, and then not only that, but part of being kind to them was also being kind to me in a sense of I had to learn how to stop putting myself second, but I had to learn how to verbalize that in a way that was kind, right? Because instead of just coming out and being belligerent and mad and angry, I had to show my hurt. I had to show my sadness. And what that did was create a better environment for all of us. And so that was part of being kind. But kindness, watching how my behavior was impacting them and really seeing it definitely brought the kindness out of me. You agree with that? Did you have the same?
Yeah, 100%. I brother, I don't even know what the word kind. Kind to me before marriage meant it's a type of marijuana. I didn't even. Thank you very much for that. Oh. See, that's kind. That's kind.
Right on.
He brought me but it's empty. Oh, okay. He brought me. Look. Yeah. Hold on.
Oh boy.
So see, my coffee cup here at the office was in the sink, dirty.
They washed it for you.
It was very kind.
It was very kind.
The CEO did that. That's the CEO did that. That's why he has that job position.
There you go.
He's very kind. But anyway, I'm just so high maintenance.
Yeah, I would second that.
This is so great. Look, yeah, I know. Anyway, so he said they're so nice here. Well, yes, having kids, having not just a wife, because a wife taught me not as much kindness at first. Dana is Sandra D. Speaking of Olivia Newton-John, Dana is Sandra D. And I was pretty darn close to the other half. And so when I met her, I was, I didn't know how to. I thought I was being nice and kind, but I thought hooking you up with whatever you wanted to party with, or just dancing with you, having fun with you, backing you up no matter how silly you got, having your back. I thought that was being kind. All that stuff that you said right now was way too mature as far as being emotionally available. I didn't know about that. I learned that way later on in the relationship. And it wasn't until I had children where the real kindness kicked in. That's when the real kindness kicked in. And that's when, for instance, my kids, this is a true story. You might not know this, but my mother could back it up and Dana could back it up and my kids can back it up. They didn't hear me curse until they were 18 years old.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, that was a big deal to me. As much as I love cursing, I think it's an art form, and
I agree.
I really enjoy doing it.
Yes.
To me, there's certain words that just play well with others, that it's a shame to lock them up and not allow them to
100%.
play. You know what I mean? I think it's criminal. So for 18, well, not more than 18 years, because we had one and then two years later had another child. So what, for 20 years, huh, I was a saint in that house, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, you can ask them about, oh, you were aggressive, you're this, and you're that, because they have a different sense of aggression than I do. First of all, aggression to me is like, pa, pa, pa. You know what I mean? Their level of aggression is, hey, why are you doing that? Huh? That's so aggressive.
You're so aggressive.
You know? It's like if you say morning without the good for some reason, it's aggressive, something ridiculous like that. So I had to learn softness on a deeper level. And luckily it did parlay into other people as well. It did parlay into to how to treat people outside the home.
Yeah, same
here. But it happened, I'm sure, gradually. It didn't happen right away. But I'm so glad it did. Now
mine's still happening. So like I haven't reached that level yet. I'm getting there.
Well, I'm on the other side now, because they're past 18. So I love being able to use curse words around them now, because now I may direct it at them now. It's like, oh, you don't understand. I held back for a long time, but now I can say that's pretty damn idiotic. I'll never call you idiotic before 18. But now I can look at you as a 23 or 20-year-old and say, what are you, freaking stupid? It's so good to now be able to speak to them as adults,
right.
But not as much towards them, but the guys that they date and one of them married. Now they get to feel I can be kind, yet I can still, just be a little bit more edgy in my approach. But the reason it's important to talk about, like on shows like this, Trinity, is because, okay, your family is one thing. No matter what you say to sometimes your family, no matter what my family says to me, I'm going to get over it. I'm going to be all right. You're still going to be my family. I'm not one of those people that cut people off.
Right.
As far as family, family's not going to get cut off. La familia is very important to me. It's a very big deal. However, it's important to almost treat other people outside your family better than you treat your family. All right, because some of you aren't treating your family very well anyway. It's more important to treat people outside your family better, because they don't have to be around you. They don't have to be involved with you. It's a privilege that they acknowledge you, that they spend time with you, that they're connected with you, that they spend time with you and do things with you and want to be around you. So you should be a little bit extra kind to those that are not blood related. We don't want your problem. I mean, if I'm in a convenience store and you just got in a fight with your significant other or your boss or your hating lifer, it's not my business. I really don't need that problem from you. I would rather you just stick to yourself, and if you want a little, look my way and I'll give you a nice eye and I'll say good morning, good afternoon, how you doing, or whatever. And maybe that might help you a little bit. I'm not going to expect anything from you. Matter of fact, I'm going to hold the door open for you. You don't even have to say thank you anymore, because I have matured past the point of requiring you to say thank you when I open the door for you, because I'm not doing it for you. I'm really doing it for me, because it's the right thing to do. And I'll treat you kind in the store, but I don't want all your other stuff. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people want to bring you in on their stuff. Like usually it just starts with like temperature. Oh, it's hot out there. Yes, it is. Yeah. But if they take this place, it's always this, it's always now they're okay. You're being negative. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Sometimes they want to take it further than that, right? And then they want to like bring you into their negative energy and bring you into their negative space. It's like, all right, you see, you hear this? Did you get that thunder? Did you?
No, I didn't hear that. No, but I got my own over here too.
I know it's Dharma time, but just so you know, God is agreeing with me. He just made the sky like, or Thor. It could be Thor. I'll hedge my bet on that one. But I think what I'm trying to say is that it's more important to me to inform you that please be nice to the people outside of your personal space, outside of your natural surroundings, because that's how we can make it, be as good as it really can be. There's people out there walking around that think all humans suck, that life sucks. And you don't see, I got another amen.
I heard that one.
Yeah. It's like God saying, amen, brother, keep preaching. Thank you. he doesn't know it's Dharma time. Well, maybe he knows. He's got to know it's Dharma time, right? He's God. He's all knowing, right? Anyway, so what I'm saying is you got to go around and you got to spread the love, spread the cheer, spread the good vibe. You never know who you might be bumping into that might be having the worst day ever, and that little bit of kindness you've shown them, just it could be a lot more significant. That's I think the message of the kindness that I like to give. I really enjoy being kind to people out there. They kind of look like like that was unexpected.
Right.
How you doing? How you doing? I love acknowledging their existence. You know what I mean? And when you
Well,
acknowledge,
they light up too.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to like a store or whatever and just like started like, hey, how you doing? Oh, blah blah blah.
Right.
Like just a kind of conversation with just a stranger. Their whole face lights up. Like, I've never had anybody be like, stop being so kind to me. Like, it's never happened.
Well, I've thought it. No, I've thought it. I've thought it. I've had people come start talking to me, and I've thought, hey, I'm just here to get it, because I'm in my own head at the time.
Sure.
But I get it.
But you wouldn't prefer for them to be rude and mean. You'd prefer them just to,
That's
neutral.
exactly what I remind myself, Trinity. When I feel frustrated over someone's kindness, that's exactly what I think to myself. Louis, stop being jerky. This person's being nice, and you're actually, you're judging it. Just let them in. Would you rather them just, curse you out? Would you rather them be rude? And that's what helps me get over it.
Yeah, and it costs us nothing to be kind, right?
Nothing.
Like my bank account has never gone down because I said hi to somebody or been nice to somebody. And sometimes nicest is just nothing, right? Like sometimes nicest is just letting somebody get a pass. That's the other thing that I've noticed with my kids. They don't ever want to give the other one a pass. They want to nitpick.
Score. You're going back to relationships. In relationships, you keep score even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, again, going back, I don't want to bring up Dana into this because she's not here to defend herself, but she used to win. She used to be really high on the score level, and I was real low. I thought I would never be able to beat her, Trinity. I thought it was like one of those so lopsided games, like I had 5 nice points and she had like 5,000. But we've been together 29 years, Trinity. Married 29 years.
Sure.
Dana is so... Look, you're not going to tell her this, are you? This is just between us, right?
Sure. Nobody else is listening, so we're good.
Bro, I slaughtered her. I've slaughtered her. I am so much nicer than her now. I mean, I don't even know who I'm living with anymore. Look, I'm blinking twice, Trinity. I'm in danger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, in relationships, we keep score. It's just part of the deal, right? We just do.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, we always joke how we're just dudes, right? And for those of you that don't know what that means, you can't even Google it anymore because it probably says like horrible person.
Canceled.
But in our definition of we're just dudes, we don't keep score. I could care less. I don't even know what you did yesterday. I don't really care.
Let it roll off my back.
Yeah, literally, I could have cursed you out yesterday. You could have probably punched me yesterday, and today it's like, hey, good morning, what's up, bro? And we're good today. Yeah. It's just that's how I love the life of Dory that I live. You know what I mean? And but there's individuals out there that keep score. And so maybe your kids, that's what they're doing. They're keeping score.
Well, it's just a general, like, okay, so you're talking about saying thank you for holding the door open and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I used to be that dude a long time ago. If I opened the door and somebody were to walk through and they didn't say thank you, I was the guy who would be like, you're welcome.
Me too.
Like I would point it out, right?
Yep.
But now if I do that, like I give them that one. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like,
whatever.
Just let it go. That right there to me is a form of being kind. Kind isn't always a net positive.
Right.
Sometimes a kind is just neutral. Just say nothing. My mom used to, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. Well, there's something to that. Yeah. If I open the door for somebody now, would I prefer for them to say thank you still? Of course. Right. Why wouldn't I? Right. But if they don't, if they're just too busy to be bothered to say thank you, I just move on with my day. I'm like, whatever. Like, apparently they were busy. And I just grab whatever I got to grab and I get out. Right. I let it go. I don't have to acknowledge it. I don't have to. And that is a version of being kind. So if you're saying to yourself, I can't be that person that's just all cheerful, walk around every day, nobody's asking you to. But maybe just not the negative person who's just got to cut down and be mean to people either. Maybe sometimes neutral is kind in your book. You got to start somewhere. But I just think that kindness is so undervalued, I think. It helps everybody. The person who's receiving the kindness is going to walk away from that situation thinking, man, that was good. That was a pleasant experience. And then the person giving it you're gonna walk away proud of yourself too. You're gonna walk away think, oh, that was a cool. I have never met anybody who just loves to live in you know how much energy it takes to just stay mean and negative all day. We've all been there. How many of us have gotten into an argument or fight with somebody and we're like, I'm gonna be mad all day long. That's it. I've got my golden ticket. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna be mad all day long.
But Trinity, you're forgetting a major component to this.
What's that?
Come on, I didn't know I was being negative and mean. I
Sure.
really didn't. I really thought I was being nice, dude. I used to, seriously, I've had serious discussions where I believed my shiza, man. I would go to my mom. My mom would say, how did that fight start? Why did you get in that fight at school? And I would say, no, the kid did. I would always see I was a victim.
It happened to me. Yeah,
I had
just
this
had to add back.
disease of victimness that no matter what, you could have told me have a nice day and I'd say, don't tell me what to do. Seriously, stop telling me what to do. You authority figure piece of crap. I mean, so I didn't know. And so it took being around someone like a Dana for so many years to see how she interacts with the world. Because at first I thought it was gullible and ridiculous. I'd be like, man, you're going to get eaten up. You're gullible. A matter of fact, there was some girls that got so upset that I started dating Dana back in college that they would say, oh, little bunny foo-foo, she's never going to satisfy you. You should be with us, blah, blah, blah. And they would set up these scenarios that would try to put me with them. And they'd be like, I don't think you guys understand. I'm not into you, man. I like this chick, and I was really into Dana. I fell in love with her from day one. So I really get upset about it. But my little bunny foo-foo Dana was so nice, and I would see the way she would respond to people and deal with people and in life scenarios. And I'd be like, dang, man, I didn't even know that kind of niceness existed. I thought that was like howdy doody world, man. I like that. This is like Leave It to Beaver life. You know what I mean? Like, how does that? People aren't this nice. But she just was.
Yep.
Was Trinity. Was. And so
I'm telling you, we married the same woman.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I learned from allowing someone else to be in my orbit and then learning from that person. I'm just a good learner from life. I think I was not a good student in formal education, but I would like to believe that I'm a great student in life. And most of my lessons were learned from mentors rather than teachers.
Agreed. Same here.
And so I really, really appreciate that.
Well, the thing I learned too, because my wife also is one of those people who's just outwardly the nicest. Like I can't comprehend being that kind-hearted. Right. Now, granted, I've seen other sides of her, but the other thing that she taught me was just because somebody's being that kind, they don't have an agenda. Because I distrusted it. I didn't trust when somebody was being kind to me. I always thought that they're, what are you trying to
angle?
Get? Maybe because that's just where my mind was.
Yes.
And so I found out that her, like, no, she's just nice. Like, she just doesn't really think that way. And I was like, wow, okay.
Tell me you didn't think nice guys finished last back in the day, didn't you? Nice guys finished last. They never got the girl. They still kind of do, but yeah. I wasn't the nice. I wasn't the mean guy. I wasn't the jerky guy. But I was the secret guy, and I wasn't Mr. Overly Nice guy. Never paid for the drinks. Never paid for the this. Never paid for that. And yet still, I can get the girl. But the nice guy to me, they were paying for everything, and they were never getting the girl. The girls didn't really want to be with them. Right. So it was like, why would you want to? It wasn't even promoted as something you'd want. You know what I mean? They didn't get the money, right? The jerky guys made the money, right? The jerky guys got the girl.
Geckos of the world.
And it's like so. There was nothing in society that showed us Trinity as men that there was a reward for being a nice guy. There really wasn't.
You know what? I gotta agree with that. I think for me, the first introduction I had to that was mentors. I had a mentor early on. His name was What
was his name?
What? H-U-A-T.
What was his name?
H-U-A-T.
What was his name, though?
Exactly. Who's on first? But he was just genuinely nice, dude. Like, I was a kid. I was like 18 years old. He was a business owner. He took me in his wing and, like, introduced me to the business world, if you will. I met his family. He was married with kids. Like, just genuinely nice. I was just like, but I respected him. He made money. He had a beautiful wife. So I was like, hold up, like, this guy isn't like cutthroat, and yet he's doing quite well for himself.
Yeah.
And then my next one was probably even more impactful was my buddy Terrence, which you still haven't met, which is
Yeah.
a crime.
I've heard
Um,
this name forever, and
yeah,
I still don't
yeah.
know who Terrence is.
Um, I met him, and he was a dude who I just respected, and we got along well. And he was the first person that I was around that introduced me to just straight up genuinely caring about people. And that was I respected him as a friend. Like we hung out, man. We were battle buddies. We did like fun stuff like outside. And so like I respected him on a peer level. And then when we would be at work at times and somebody would come up and they would talk about something, like I don't know, like cancer or something. They were dealing with that, right? And I would hear them and I'd be like, oh, that sucks. I would say all the right things. But the second I walked away from that conversation, poof, they were gone. Like I just, whatever, sucks for you, bro. Went on with my life. The next day he would come in with like printed out material where he went home, looked up something in relation to that and gave it to them. And I'm just like, how does your brain work? Like the second I didn't give a shit the second I walked away. But he did. And because I respected him, I was like, damn, man, like I wouldn't mind being more like that because he's doing all the fun stuff that I'm doing, but it's got to feel such a great, fulfilling feeling to genuinely care about your fellow person that way.
Right.
And so by watching him, I made it a point to try to do more. I'm not on his level, and I probably never will be, but I'm closer because I made it. But it was because of a mentor. It wasn't because of anything I saw on TV or any
Right.
teachers. It was a friend of mine who I respected, who showed me that you could be masculine, you could be this, you could be feared if you needed to be, but still be a genuinely good human being.
Right.
And then there I met other people who were very similar. And I was just like, wow, these people exist. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started my journey of trying to be more like that. And then, like I said, when I got married and had kids, it just went up from there. But I've noticed a difference, if I'm honest with you. Like my life is so much more fulfilling. I'm so much more happy, so much more content than I was when I was just a grumpy bastard, basically. And I get more from it as well. Like I get more from being kind to people, more enrichment, more kindness, more generosity, just all around. It's just better.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm agreeing with you, and I think one thing that we definitely have to bring up too is that I used to believe that you had to give it to me for me to give it back to you. So everybody's always waiting for the other to do it. It's like that. You got to show me respect to get respect. No,
Yeah.
Like if you're a respectful person, you just give it regardless. You know what I mean? I mean, it's on them what they do with it. Like people would say, hey, I don't mean to be rude to you. It says, no, you can be rude to me. It doesn't mean I'm going to be rude back to you. I mean, I'm in charge of my rudeness. I'm in charge of my anger. I'm in charge of my frustration. I'm responsible for how I treat you. So you could do what you do, and I can. Amen again. You see that?
I heard that one.
I'm getting a lot of amens from Thor or God today. But by giving it, I get a better opportunity. We can all increase the odds, because I am a math person. We can all increase the odds of receiving it if we give it initially. Yeah. We can increase the odds of receiving good vibrations, good attitude, good everything if we give it. But if you're one of these people that are like waiting for someone else to give it to you first, or you're judging them on what they're giving you, they're not giving you enough to your satisfaction. They're not giving you the kind of words that you want, or they're not giving you the kind of acknowledgement you want. You would never do it that way. You would never say it that way. If you're one of those, then you're going to always be frustrated all the time.
Stop expecting you from other people.
Yeah.
The other thing that it gave me too is I don't have to look over my shoulder, right? I know back in the day when I was living the life of kind of just like a prick, basically. I definitely had to like look over my shoulder at times. I had to because you never know how many enemies I would make. If I piss this dude off one time, he he sees me out another time. Maybe he wants to say something. There's a confidence that you have when you're just being nice to people. I'm not giving people a reason to hate me right now.
Yeah,
and it is a good feeling to not walk around thinking, all right, where who's gonna get me?
Yeah.
That's not to say that I obviously couldn't be a victim of crime or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is just the people that you were just kind of a dick to for no reason, are probably potentially waiting for an opportunity to give that back to you, whenever they see you again. I don't have to worry about that because I know that I'm just not being mean to anybody out there.
Even bigger than for no reason, I think, is that I think I was jerky to some people for the wrong reason, which was for my amusement. you
Sure.
know,
I can relate to that.
for either my amusement or for the camaraderie amusement, so that me and my boys can all laugh. Um, you know, there was a lot of things that I'm not very proud of, that me and my friends would be hanging out and would get bored and decide to, let's go upset other people's life a little bit, on purpose, and to
Right.
just ride around and wait for that moment and prey upon that moment. Maynard can probably recall some of those times. Maynard, that is sometimes watching the show on Facebook Live. He may be reminded of some of those moments where we just went out and just created destruction just for our amusement. That was not very kind, man. And you know what? We didn't hold each other accountable to kindness as well. And back then, it was all right to hang out with people who were very disrespectful, and we would just say, that's just the way it is. That's just the way he is. I mean, we would allow that. I'm not that same person today. I'm a
Same.
lot less
Yeah.
tolerant about you being in my circle of influence if you're an unkind person or disrespectful person. Um, I may still communicate with you. I may still, have some sort of interaction with you, because my threshold is so different. However, I'm not bringing you into maybe my family circle. I'm not bringing you into my close friend circle. I'm not bringing you into my business circle, for that reason. I
Right.
will keep you at a distance and let you be who you are. But because I know who you are, I allow you to be who you are, and I keep boundaries on how far I allow that relationship to go. And I think that's also part of being healthy, is that
Yeah.
maybe don't expect you and everybody, but also don't expect them to be able to change in certain situations. Like, just don't set them up. There's
Right.
certain people that if I threw a party today, Trinity, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons I'm not a party thrower, right? Is that I have many different kinds of people that I may interact with. And I know party A and party B should never be in the same room together. They don't belong together.
Sure.
Although I can be with party A comfortably over here, I can be with party B comfortably over here, but they should never meet. And when you force upon people to interact,
Yeah.
you're
Might
setting
not end
them up.
well. Yeah.
You're
might
setting them up. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're setting them up to let you down. And it's not judging them. It's knowing everybody has a different threshold of kindness. Like, what this person thinks is respectful and kind, and is not necessarily what this other person feels.
Right.
And so you should keep them exactly where they're at.
Sure.
Like I should be. I'm sure I'm kept where I'm at. I'm sure there's people that may think about adding me to a list, and they go,
Yeah, maybe
no,
not.
let's scratch Louis off that list.
Well, Facebook, she said, "I love that. Stop expecting you from other people."
Right.
Yeah, I think that is part of the issue, right? Is we
Right.
expect ourselves from other people. We
Right.
have a certain way that we think it should go, and
Right.
what we should say, what should be said, what should be done, what should happen, and when it doesn't, instead of accepting the fact that, oh, okay, well, then that's how they handle it. That's how they see it. I respect that. No, we get mad. Like, why didn't you do it the way I would do it? Like, and I think that is part of the issue with being kind is stop expecting you from other people. Start
Right.
realizing that each one of us has our own perspective, our own journey, our own background, and we're entitled to that. And
Yeah.
the other thing too is, man, people are entitled to be wrong. Like, you're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong, and I don't have to correct you. Sometimes I can let life correct you. It's not my
Yeah.
position to correct you at all
Yeah.
times. And I learned that also through kids, through more specifically teenagers. I got some teenagers, man, who do some things that I've learned through interacting with them, that I just got to let them make their mistakes. I got to
Yep.
step back and let them, okay, well, good luck. I think life is going to have something to say about that. And my job then is just to be there for them when life inevitably teaches them that lesson.
Right.
But in life in general, you can apply that. It's not, you don't have to be the quote unquote right police. You don't have to go around correcting everybody all the time and telling them they're right or this.
Citizens Reyes. Citizens Reyes.
Exactly. Sometimes you could just let people be wrong, man.
Yep.
It's like, okay,
Yep.
because and if they really truly are wrong, trust me, they'll find out. Life has a way of proving that to everybody over time.
And even if it's not wrong, you just got to let them be like whatever they are. It's just different than you. It's different than what you want from them. But that's their journey. That's their life. You don't have to deal with their life or their
Love them where
consequences.
they're at.
Absolutely. Now you can always close your circle up a little bit tighter so that they're not in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the ability to close your circle up as tight as you wish to have it. And I guarantee if we talk long enough with each other on a personal level, I can show you how you can remove that individual uh, from most aspects of your life. I know some of you feel trapped, whether they're your boss or whether you're a family member or whatever. But even in those situations, there's people just like you who changed jobs, changed
Yeah.
occupations, changed relationships, no longer communicate with close family members. So there are people that can do it. You're just choosing that the benefit may outweigh the negative. And if that's so, then you're just going to have to make some concessions about that, because you've made a choice. You've made a decision based on that.
Right on. Well, I know your hard stop is coming up because you
Yeah,
apparently
I
have a
see
lot
that.
of interviews.
I see that the first one just showed up.
Oh, right on. So, do you have any final thoughts before we call today?
I want to thank you, Trini, for being kind to me. My day
what I do,
did
man.
not start off with someone very close to me. Dana was not very kind to me. She was very rude to me. Said some horrible things. I may have responded before leaving, but I mean, what I said was completely justified because it was based on her comment first. And since she did the comments first, everything I said after that was, of
Totally
course,
justified.
stronger. Of course, mine hit harder because I mean, she knows how I was raised. She knows who I am. She knows that I'm going to hit you harder. I'm sorry, verbally, don't, verbally. But that person was not kind to me. So coming and doing the show with you and you being so kind to me, and then coming here and David being so kind to me, he washed my coffee cup, poured me some coffee. He didn't bring it to me. I don't know why he didn't bring it to me. So
That was very
I mean, he could have
unkind
been
of him.
he could have been just a tad more kinder and actually
You should tell
brought
him
it to me
that.
instead of leaving it so
He
far
needs
out
to
of
know.
reach.
He needs to know how wrong he is.
He knows I'm on the air. He knows I can't just go grab it.
Shame.
I mean,
Shame.
but he'll make up. I'm sure he'll make up for it for the rest of the day. But those are my final words. Just be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself mostly. And that's it. I can't wait for Friday's show.
Friday's going to be a good one, I'm sure. So for those of you who don't know, Fridays we do our We the Middle show. Him and I are both kind of in the middle. We're not Democrat or Republican, but we have opinions, and we think that many other Americans agree with us, or at least are also in the middle. So we talk about the political goings-ons of the day. We have plenty of stuff, I'm sure, to talk about Friday.
Hey, by the way, how cool was that Mayor Demings did a surprise entry on our show yesterday?
Yeah. Well,
because he wants votes.
Well, of course he wants votes, but I don't think he planned on it. They just put the camera on.
I know.
He just
So if you're in Orlando, by the way, and Mayor Demings is on the ballot, he is a great guy. Supports
He's got
us.
my endorsement.
He supports our programming. So we love Mayor Demings. So
And for those of you who don't know about that, on Monday nights, we do the Couch Live here locally on WOKB 1680 AM and 100.7 FM. And then, of course, it's obviously on our Dope and Dharma channels as well. So, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you. My final thoughts on being kind are, like you said, first and foremost, be kind to yourself. You got to live with yourself forever. Might as well learn how to be kind. Yep. It'll make it a lot more fulfilling and enjoyable than if you're not. And you deserve it. You're good enough. You're strong enough, and doggone it, people like you. Yeah, Stuart Smiley. But no, be kind to yourself. And sometimes that's just, being patient with yourself or compassionate with yourself, forgiving yourself, that kind of stuff. And then be kind to other people. It costs you nothing to be kind to somebody. And being kind doesn't mean you have to be that person that's like, hey, how you doing? Sometimes it's just not being negative. Sometimes it's not being critical and nitpicky. Sometimes it's just being quiet when you could say something. But bottom line is I think we could all do with a little bit more kindness. Really, like it really serves no benefit to be so rude and so nasty and so mean. To call out somebody constantly, to criticize, to judge, it really doesn't give you the benefit that you think it does. I think if you step back and look, it's hurting you more than it's helping you. And if you don't believe me, try it out. Try being negative and critical and judgmental for a week, and then try being really positive and nice for a week and see what you get. I think you'll like the second one a little bit better. So anyways, I think that's all I got. I know he's going to hard stop and go interview some people. Good luck to them. Hopefully they showed up on and they deserve whatever you're going to bestow upon them. And on that note, that's all I got. So now that you do know better, do better. Peace.